Good morning, everyone. It is January the 14th, 2019. I want to talk about a few things this morning. Y'all gonna have to excuse me. I'm coming down with a really bad sinus cold, and my throat's scratchy and raw, so I want to get this video done while I can. I might not be able to talk in the next couple of days. I want to talk about the earth changes that are happening. When we change from one sign to another, the magnetics change. They go from negative to positive. Here it goes from feminine, negative, to positive, masculine. And that changes everything. But it's more than just that. Because the planets that rule them have a particular frequency as well. Jupiter rules the age of Pisces, and he is in the lower chakras. He's down at the bottom with Mars. Jupiter rules desire and your belief system, but what we really deal with are desires. Jupiter rules all things in the material world, so it's a fleshly, lustly type of desire, and that is, like I said, in the lower chakras. And when we move into Aquarius, we're moving literally from the bottom two chakras, Mars and Jupiter, to the crown chakra. It's a big jump. When we talk about moving from Mercury and Gemini to the throat chakra, to the heart chakra, to the root chakra, to the second chakra, all the way, just bam, right to the crown. This is the biggest jump. These three changes weren't that devastating. It's going to be like the jump between the sun and the moon, between Leo and Cancer. These two rule side by side, but they're so drastically opposite of each other. Saturn is the only planet that his houses are side by side and are considered one. And it's just being demonized to no end. Now they are demonizing Pan as well as Baphomet. The fear-mongering is out of control. I really hate to see that, because 2020, this marker coming up, this conjunction on the winter solstice of 2020, it's not just a normal one. It's a series of conjunctions between Saturn and Jupiter in the earth signs, where Saturn takes control here because Jupiter's debilitated. And because Pluto's there, we're going to be manifesting from the subconscious mind. And when they put out false symbolism, Pluto deals with symbolism. They're creating monsters of the id, is what they're creating. And a large amount of the population is going to manifest that in 2020. And that 2020 is still just a halfway marker between two major eclipses. That's the most prominent thing that's happened in this country, really since its foundation. We've not had anything like this in the United States, in North America, where you have two eclipses that are 7 years apart, followed with, right in the middle of them, a Saturn-Jupiter conjunction on a solstice. That's just beyond rare. And that's not even to mention all the other signs that are occurring. Those are just the major signposts ahead. We've all entered the twilight zone here. In every age is completely different than the age before it. The frequencies that come from this magic circle, they change our DNA. When they tell you there were giants in the earth in those days after that, It's literally true. But they're giant men. The sun's frequency controls all the DNA on this planet. The trees can get bigger and smaller. People can get bigger and smaller. Animals will disappear. New ones will come into being. The Native Americans talk about this. They talk about when the change comes. That's what they call it. The end of this age, this cycle. That the new cycle brings with it creatures that we haven't seen in a long time, that have been extinct. And it'll also bring with it creatures we've never seen before. They want to give you every excuse in the world to why this is occurring, but it's occurring because it's part of this cycle. It's part of this magic wheel. Orion is a giant. It's the giant's foot, the shoulder of the giant. This is a giant. There were giants in the earth, Taurus, in those days, and after that. When the sun, S-U-N, of God, this magic circle, comes into the daughters of men, when women are pregnant, the sun vibrates the frequency of the DNA and the soul that's born into particular bodies. I know this to be true as well. And it probably has and it has to do with bloodlines. That not any soul can incarnate into just any body. Souls or consciousness beings are on all levels. And they are in groups, soul groups. I'm starting to see and understand more of what soul groups are as I do these charts. And I can't begin to tell you how the patterns are falling. If I wasn't doing it myself and somebody just told me, I wouldn't believe it. I just wouldn't believe it. It's beyond a statistical average of just calling it, oh, that's just coincidence. Nope, this is not coincidence. I have fell into some kind of pattern here. But I do clearly understand when I read the book using alchemy as... Alchemy to me is the key to everything. It's the key to languages. It's the key to astrology. It opens the door for almost any knowledge you want to look at. You see it in a whole new light. The esoteric, all of it, it brings a whole new level of understanding to everything that's not possible without it. I couldn't possibly see doing astrology without alchemy. To me, until I found alchemy, astrology was bullshit. I have people ask me questions that want charts about money and love. All that's traditions of men. It's really not in alchemy. There are signs that have to do with money, like the earth signs, especially Taurus. But that doesn't necessarily dictate whether or not you're going to have a lot of money. Sometimes you see certain planets there that, sure, you're going to do well in business, or you have to work for your money. But alchemy, that's not what it's about. This is a journey of the soul, not this earthly, fleshly, Jupiterian thing. Alchemy is ruled by Saturn in Aquarius. Astrology is alchemy to me. They're one and the same. The rest of it's all crap. And the powers that be have gone to such a great extent. I'm going to tell you, throughout history, this is the thing that fears them the most. is that we know true astrology. When they went around, when the British Empire and the Vatican went around the world and conquered this planet during the age of water, they systematically destroyed every zodiac on the planet. It was a symbolic language that was known to all people, and it was systematically destroyed. Their languages, their symbols, and their zodiac, and that kills their knowledge. Everybody had one, and when you have them all, you've got the whole story, because everybody got a piece of the pie. Everybody got a piece of the pie. In the Arabic, we're told the story of the giant in the earth, Taurus, in those days and after that. In the Egyptian, same tale, we're told about the Ayin Saf. We're told about the flock in Egypt and how they come out of Egypt into the sheepfold. We're told about the wizard, the vizier, the advisor to the king. We're told the whole thing. In the Egyptian, in the Arabic, this is the giant. But in Egyptian, here's the other giant that's in the heaven and earth. Want to know what that is? Get ready. And you got to know the stories in all of it. It's Pegasus, which is the upper house of Aquarius. They were giants in the earth in those days and after that. This story repeats itself. All of the names of the stars in Hollywood come from names of the stars in the heavens in one language or another. And they all have a meaning. It's like the Native Americans. All names have meanings. But we have been denied that knowledge as well. What else do I want to talk about here? What's going on is a correction. The poles are shifting. The magnetic poles are shifting. The sun is changing. I need to do a video about a repetitive dream I've had. I've had 3 repetitive dreams my whole life. They're all 3 connected, and I've been having them since I was a child. And I've gone about 5 years that one of the dreams I have not had. And now I'm starting to have it. I've had it 3 times this month. So that's a signpost to me. I need to make a video about it. And it's about, I call it the red sky. I've mentioned it before in previous videos about this dream of the red sky. So I feel like I need to tell that again, but I don't think it's appropriate in this particular video. I do want to say something about questions, comments, and suggestions that I'm getting on my channel. I get comments like, I wish you'd drop all the Bible mumbo jumbo and just do astrology. And then I'll get comments like, I wish you'd do more Bible bibble babble. So, you got some on one end of it and some on the other, and some that just want the alchemy. And, but that's not the way my channel works. I don't really plan videos. I don't have a script. I might jot some, I'll get a notebook, and if something hits my mind, I'll jot it down. Just 1 or 2 words. And then I'll openly just talk on that topic. I don't pre-think anything. It's all spur of the moment, spirit-led. I have to be inspired to make it. It's not something I can just shit. So I have a lot of suggestions for videos, but my time is so tied up in these charts right now. I have 6 charts left to do, and I'm giving myself a break. My birthday's this week, and I'm sick, so I'm probably fixing to take a couple of days off. And I am working on the weekends again, and so I hope to finish these charts by next week, and then I'll open up for February. I will accept charts for February, but a whole lot of new rules and new ways of doing everything. I guess I can go ahead and talk about this now. I got really overwhelmed with charts. It got so out of hand, I can't even begin to express how stressed I got over it. Especially when I accidentally deleted every damn thing in my email and was unable to retrieve it. And when I requested that you resend me your information, I had another list of free charts from last year, and they were the 15 minutes where I just show you what sign you are. I don't really go into detail or anything. When I started doing the free charts, I had 200 subs. At one point, it went from 300 to 500 free charts. And there was no way I could do that. They just kept coming. And so I cut that off altogether. And a lot of those charts got caught back into this list. And I wasn't aware of it. By the time I caught on, I'm like, where are all these coming from? So I started going into PayPal, which is the only way I can verify anything. Every folder I had was deleted. And when I went into PayPal and I realized I'm not able to verify these charts, that they were on the free list. And I had been doing hour charts instead of 15-minute charts. Nobody said anything. That's okay. Another problem I have is because I'm allowing you, the charts are $100 a piece. And because I allow you to pay in installments, I feel like I've been taken advantage of. I have at least 75% of requests are donations on monthly installments. I understand not everybody can pay, but then they're for multiple charts. I'm doing 5 and 6 charts for one person, and I'm only getting $10 or $20 a month. That's just way too much, and it's not fair to everybody else. So from here on out, it's going to go down like this. I'm only going to do 12 charts a month. That's all I'm going to accept. I'm not going to stress myself out and overload myself anymore. If I thought this channel could support me, then I would quit my job and do it full time. But sometimes I'll go a month without doing a single chart. And when they come, it comes in droves. And they all hit me at one time. And I get overwhelmed. And it's been the holidays and all kind of crap's been going on I really haven't clued everybody in on yet. So that's not going to happen to me anymore. If you want a donation chart and you're going to do it on monthly installments, then it's one chart at a time. I can't do your whole family and do 7 charts and for $10 a month. That's 70 months to pay that off. And then all those that have, here's how I'm going to do it. Here's how I've decided it's going to work for February. I'm going to do 12 charts. I've already accepted 1. So there's only 11 spots left, and it will be first come, first serve. The first 2 weeks of the month, I will do the charts that are paid in full. The second 2 weeks of the month, I will do the charts that are donation monthly. And people ask me, yes, I have charts that people will make a small donation. I do the chart, and then they don't pay anymore. I don't hear from them anymore. They love the chart, and then boot, they just disappear. I'm not going to track you down. You'll never hear from me. I don't have time to go deal with all of that. So I just give it to karma. That's between you and karma, period. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it myself. I'm not a person that likes to worry or stress or sweat the small stuff. To me, that's a small stuff. And I wish these people that do this, I wish you no harm or no evil. I understand. A lot of people, I tell you, I understand you can't pay this month. That's okay. I understand you've got Christmas and your kids are in school, or this happens and that happens. You don't even have to explain it to me. It's like I tell you, you pay what you can when you can, and that's all. I'm not angry or hurt or mad or anything like that. I don't even wish any evil karma on you, but I do. I give it to karma. I don't walk in grace. I tried walking in mercy and grace, and I'm not born in that world. That's not part of me. It don't work for me. I can be merciful and graceful to everybody around me, and the more I am, the more they treat me like shit. I walk in, you reap what you sow. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And that's the law of equivalent exchange. I scratch your back, you scratch mine. That's the only way this world's going to work. And that's what Aquarius is all about. That's what that whole constellation is about. It's about you reap what you sow. Some people call it karma and dharma. Alchemy calls it the law of equivalent exchange. You can only get out of something what you put into it. I can't turn on my computer and expect to run a program that don't even exist in it. First, I have to put the software in there before I can get it out. It's the same thing with our children and with our pets. You're only going to get out of them what you put into them. And life is that way. You're only going to get out of life what you put into it. These past few weeks have been life-changing for me since I've taken on the practice of what all I'm grateful for. On a daily basis, just every time it crosses my mind, I've went through the phase of committing that random act of kindness, and I still do it. I will always be a kind person. It's just in my nature. If I see somebody's need, I'm going to try to meet it. If it's within my power, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to walk away. I'm the good Samaritan on the road. If you're laying in the ditch, I'm going to pick you up. That is just my nature. I don't have to go out of my way to do that. It is my way. But I was raised by a pessimist. Life has really shit on me a lot in the past few years. But it's been a growth experience, a learning experience. And I have found that being grateful, even if I have to struggle to find something to be grateful for, it is the most dramatic change. It brings the most dramatic change. Because it doesn't just bring a change in the world around me. It brings a change in me. Like I said, my bag of rocks is gone. I don't tote around. I had no idea at what a relief it is. That when you're grateful, it's like walking on the bright side of life. I feel like Monty Python and Life of Brian, and I'm hanging on the cross, but I'm singing, look on the bright side of life. And what a difference it makes. And I realized when I walk in anger, or I walk in worry, doubt, fear, I'm walking in darkness. But when I'm walking in gratitude, then I'm walking in the light. And if I'm in the light, then the world around me starts to manifest that light. It's almost contagious. It's like laughter. You know, there are very few things that people around the world have in common. I've met people from all over the world since I was very young. Culture shock hit me when I came off the farm, right? When we moved to a big city, that was my first experience with culture shock. I had never walked sidewalks before. We didn't even have a paved driveway, much less a sidewalk. So I went through a bit of concrete jungle shock when I first moved to a city. But then I've lived in places like Houston, Dallas, Miami, San Diego. I've lived in huge international cities where there were just people from all over the world. And we have certain things that are common among all people. It's not learned things. We all sneeze the same way. We all laugh the same way. We all go ha 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 he 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 he. And that's just something that is natural in man. And the H sound in particular, it's used as a vowel in alchemy. The Y, the H, the A, E, I, O, U, and the H. We use it as a consonant. But if you look at it from the alchemical perspective, it's a vowel. It's not a consonant. It's a vowel. And it's eternal. It's the Ha. It's the breath of life. It's the H that was put in Abraham's name. How the hell did I get off on this subject? One thing leads to another. Everything is connected to everything else. Okay, I just got a word, so we're going to do it. We're going to talk about the burden of the fixed cross. I've actually talked about the mutable cross quite a bit. And I have talked about the cardinal cross because I'm on it. I talk about the fixed cross because it is the cross of the Messiah, the cross in the middle, the cross of the Master. But when we're told to take up our cross and follow Him, our crosses have burdens. I've talked about how heavy the burden is on the mutable cross many times. I've even done videos on it, but I've never outright talked about the burden of the fixed cross. So for you people on the fixed cross, here you go. Now, everybody that's on the fixed cross, it's turned a different way. For Aquarius, your Aquarius would be the top. If you're a Taurus, then your Taurus would be at the top of your cross. And each part of the cross is part of your lesson or part of your burden. Saturn tells you your lesson, but your cross is your burden in life. Aquarius is the self-martyr. Jesus said, "No man takes my life, I lay it down." So this is about taking responsibility for yourself and your others. Are you your brother's keeper? Yes, you are. And the question is, who is your brother? Not are you your brother's keeper. It's about the law of equivalent exchange. It's about karma and dharma. And this is the lesson to be learned here. Scorpio. Scorpio and Ophiuchus, that's the hero's journey. This is about the people in your life. The people you keep close to you. Your friends, your lovers. The lesson here is you keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Hercules finds out the king he's working for is the bad guy and his enemy, and has been playing him the whole time. The lesson here are the people you choose in your life. Leo, the bottom of that Regulus, is the nail in the feet of the Messiah. This is John the Beloved. This is Mother Mary, the divine feminine, ruled by the moon. This is the other Mary, the woman with the alabaster box who washes his feet with her tears and dries it with her hair. This is confusion, but it's also courage. The courage of the lion. It took a lot of courage. John was the only apostle that showed up at the foot of the cross. The rest of them all ditched. They were all afraid. They thought they'd get crucified too. They all ran and hid. They denied him. They lied. This is courage. They're all three in confusion. They don't understand why her son, her lover, and his master, his teacher, are being crucified. They don't get it. But this is about courage here. It's about confusion, but it's about courage. And then we have Taurus. Taurus is about, I talked about this before, Taurus is about money, but it's about working for the money. Yeah, earth signs are frugal. They watch their money, they save. And that's what Taurus is about. Taurus is about learning to work for your money. It's about learning to save money for the future. It's about putting away a nest egg for later. Taurus people are very concerned about having a roof over their head. And they want to make sure it's there tomorrow. And they like to have nice things. But they will only... a Taurus person really only spends his money to impress somebody else, whether he spends it on himself or the other person. Otherwise, you save the money. That's the lesson of Taurus. We call it putting away for a rainy day. But to work for your money, and it's yours, right? It's yours. That was the whole beef of the flock, the slaves in Egypt. It's working. You work hard for it. It's yours. You want it. You should have it. Right now, we have governments trying to eat up more than what we can produce. They want it all and then some. As a matter of fact, they've already got it all and then some. That's what debt is. We have to pay for our slavery from the first, actually, before we're born. The bills start coming before we're ever born, and they continue to come after we die. They want to charge you for your pregnancy, for your birth, for everything along the way, and then the big fat bill at death, and then the bills that come in after death. It's never ending. That's all going to stop. That's all going to stop. We're going to feel a lot of that coming soon. Uranus is moving into Aries. In tropical or Western astrology, they've got Uranus moving into Taurus, which is when we get our new money. Uranus is change, and this is working for the money. If you want to know in a chart, do you have Mercury in Taurus? That's a good sign for money. Mercury exalted is a good sign for money, even though Mercury is not money. He's commerce. And commerce is trade. It's the way you make money. What is your trade? What is your skills? Generally, your purpose in life should be related to your job. And Saturn tells you that. If you want a job that makes you happy in life, it needs to be related to your purpose. We all have this desire to know what our purpose is. That it tells me that we innately know that we have one. Now, everything's changed in this age, has been so hijacked. They don't want you to know what your purpose is in this age. They don't want you to know. They want to cookie cutter you out, and they want you to be what they want you to be. And they want you to think what they want you to think. We all need to learn to think for yourselves. You know, when I do these charts, well, that's the burden of the fixed cross, by the way. It's learning astrology, alchemy, this law of equivalent exchange, learning to take responsibility for yourself and others, realizing what the self-martyr is, that you can't run around blaming everybody else. Nobody done this to you but you. Be careful about who you choose close to you. Do you really know these people? Agents, look, the person I thought would never lay a hand on me, ever. If you would have told me what was going to happen to me was coming, I'd have laughed you down. I would have said, nope, the man I'm with would have never laid a hand on me. But he did. And he did it to me in my sleep. I never saw it coming. I had no defense. And was a shocking wake-up call. And I'm not even on the fixed cross. I don't even have planets in Scorpio. But there's you a lesson to learn right there. Now the hero journey, Hercules up here, and Vishnu, they go on the 12 trials, which is every house of the zodiac, learning the lesson of every house. And then the courageous lion down here, this bold, I harp on Leo a lot because it is a symbol of Babylon. It's a symbol of confusion, and it's also the power matrix that these bloodlines use, is this symbol. And of course they've inverted it and perverted it like they do everything else. And to me, they are in confusion. If they knew the truth that I knew, they wouldn't dare be doing what they're doing. But that, just to be bold here, to summon up courage even in the face of confusion. Leo, that outer fire, that's your halo, it's your aura. The outer fire, that Shekinah glory, to be wrapped in that light. It's the house of the sun. And when the flock left out of Taurus in Africa and came to Aries in Asia, and they were complaining about being bitten by the snakes of Egypt, and Moses told them to look upon the fiery serpent on the pole. Well, Aries, opposite Aries, is the fiery serpent on the pole. So they had to look up the cardinal cross to find relief to be healed from the serpents of Egypt. They had to look upon the bronzed serpent on the pole. When we enter into the age of Aquarius and the sun rises in Aquarius, it will be the lion that we look upon, the lion's gate. There's a lot of truth in what's being said, but it's all been hijacked. It's all been overlaid with a false matrix. This is an outer light. This is that light that shines on what you call the beautiful people, or the halos, and it's the house of the sun. The sun is going to be very prominent. We're told in Aquarius that you'll have no need of the sun or the moon, for I will be with you. We're going to walk on streets paved with gold. That's solar astrology. You are your sun sign. Your moon sign is how other people see you. But this circle belongs to Saturn. It's Saturn's circle. You're just a sun and a moon in it. It's his circle. It's his lessons. He laid it out this way on purpose to bring us to a certain point. But he only wants the best of the best. The rest of you are just going to keep recycling back around this wheel of forever never-ending story until you finally figure out how to get out. And I can't carry all of your crosses for you. I can't answer every question for you. I didn't have any intentions of becoming an astrologer. I wanted to teach you people how to do this for yourself. Most of you don't want to do your homework. All I can do is put it out there, but I can't carry everybody's cross. It's tough enough for me to carry my own. The burden is yours. That's why we're told to take it up, and that's our burden, and to take up our cross and follow him daily. And that means if you'll start doing this yourself, Stellarium's free, link below, go download this program. Start doing this for yourself. Come over here into the star lore and learn as much as you can learn. Look up the meaning of the names. Just play with it. Try to learn one new thing off Stellarium every day, one new star name. There's scat. What is scat? Let's go find out what scat is. We get most of they give us the Greek names, but the translations only show up in Arabic. And it's the shin. We've been talking about how everything's related to everything. And when you talk about the different constellations, they all are connected to a part of the body. And indeed, Aquarius is called the shin, and Capricorn is the knee. Funny, Liam Neeson. He's the Liam. You can say the Liam Neeson is Thalum, the knee, and the sun. So it's the sun in Capricorn Aquarius. The Liam Neeson. The shin is scat. Interesting to know. I didn't know that. I learned something new. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for every time I learn something new about the heavens. At least I'm getting a truth that is beyond the lies of man. The main star here, this is called the first sign. In our language, it's called Sheridan. Sheridan. And that's the name they chose for the captain or the commander of Babylon 5, was Sheridan. It's the first sign. This is the first commandment. Thou shalt have no other God before me. That's the name of that star, and that's what it means. Because in the age of fire, this is where it begins. You always put Aries first in that astrology. I don't put Aries first. To me, the first constellation is wherever the sun is in the spring equinox. That's 0 degrees. That's what alchemy says, but they lock it. The Jews are still got their calendar from here. Christians and Muslims have their calendar in this area right here. The Chinese calendar goes all the way back to here. But we're in the now. I call that the 1, 2, 3 lock box. But we're in the now. And that's right here. We're here. I learned most of what I learned from the Arabic, and that would have never happened for me had I not, it's funny how I even learned Arabic. I was a waitress in a bar. It's called the Metropolitan. It was a discotheque. And these Arabs started coming in and sitting in my section, but they didn't speak no English. I was 18 years old, and I waited on them. They always sat in my section. They were really nice. And one Friday, I guess he got somebody to teach him how to say it, and he handed me a brand new set of car keys and told me, "This is your tip." And when I got off work, it was parked in the front door. And it was a brand new baby blue Camaro with 12 miles on it. He had drove it from the car lot and parked it. And I didn't even know his name. I don't even think he knew my name at that point. So I kept the car for 3 days, and when they come back in, I gave the keys back. I did not want the strings that were attached to that. I know what that kind of gift meant. But I made friends with them. They were in the United States learning English. The oil contracts to refine the oil in Houston were coming up. And they were built, they've already done it. They've built the refineries in Saudi Arabia so that they can refine the oil there instead of here. And so they had to come here to learn English so they could go to Houston and learn how to run the refineries and then go home and do it. And I had lived in, I was in Alabama at the time when I ran into them. But I had lived in Houston for a couple years, and I moved back. And I agreed to help them learn English if they would teach me Arabic. So it was a good trade. And it has come in so handy. That's just happenstance in my life. And it was utter disasters that happened to me that I ended up in Houston. Had the disasters not happened in my life, or what I thought were disasters, now I can look back understanding alchemy and get a much better grip on it. That had I known about the way Pluto and Uranus worked, I would have made the necessary changes in my life without having to suffer so much loss and devastation. Because everybody wants their life to be stable. We all want to be on the fixed cross. The fixed cross is the stable cross. We all want to be there. It's immovable. That immovable race of humanity that's spoken of in the Nag Hammadi. That's the age everybody wants to be born into. But we don't have that. My life has been so unstable. But to me, it's all been worth it. I ask myself this a lot. Would I go back and change anything? And I'm afraid that if I went back and I changed even one thing, that I might not know what I know today. To me, knowledge and truth is the most important thing, and truth is really just one person's point of view. It's like one man's savior is another man's nemesis. What's good to one is evil to another in this duality. The thing is to rise above duality. And Capricorn and Aquarius together as one sign is really about that. It's about rising above duality. It's where the male and female are one. They're pushing a very hermaphroditic agenda. They want to give you a false androgyny. This is an androgyny given to you of the flesh by Jupiter in Pisces. This has nothing to do with pulling together your fragmented mind and having an androgynous singular crown chakra. This is beyond the flesh, what's coming. Not everybody's going to be able to handle the DNA changes or handle the frequency changes. People are flipping out now. We're going to have a whole group zombie out. They are really pushing the zombie agenda. But if you really understood it, like they're NPCs, they're non-player characters. They don't have what I call source code. Only those of us with source code are awake, or source consciousness. I really can't stand the word awake. There are 3 words I use all the time. I have to find an alternative word, and those words are bless, which is be less. Pray is what you do to your victim. You pray on them. And awake, because awake is a funeral. You go to a funeral. It's the death, which is good. It could be death to ignorance. Maybe I can look at it that way. To be awake is going to a memorial for ignorance is dead. Ignorance is not a bad word. I know it comes off bad because of the way people use it. It simply means you ignored. You're ignorant because you ignored. You didn't pay attention. My mother is an ignore. If there's something that doesn't fit in her little paradigm, she puts her fingers in her ears like the Lancome lady and goes la 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 la. She don't want to hear it. In a way, I guess she's kind of figured out how life works for her. She just lives in her own little world, and it's sunny when she wants it to be and cloudy when she wants it to be, and she don't give a damn about anything else but herself. That is one self-centered, focused woman, I have to say. But at least she got that part figured out. You just can't get her to go within, right? She's just got walls she don't want to know. She can't handle the truth, and she knows it. She's quite aware she can't handle the truth. A lot of people can't handle the truth simply because of the programming. If the programming had never been installed, the truth is simple to handle. Even if none of this is real. Even if all of this is simulation. It's a creation simulation. We're told that in Genesis, that this is a repeat. Here's the biggest giveaway to me of it all. And I think the same thing in the Matrix. It was the big giveaway. And it's what we call deja vu. I remember so clearly the first time I experienced deja vu. And I was literally walking down a dirt road. And I walked by some cattails that were in a little ditch. And I knew I had been here before. Oh, I've already done this. I know this. And then I asked myself, how do I know this? How do I know this? That's because we've already read the script. To me, this is exactly what Genesis says it is. It's a repeat. This is a do-over. And not only is it a do-over, I think we're doing it in reverse. I think it's like the record plays one way, and somebody got a hold of the record and is spinning it backwards. Everything is backmasked. I have actually, I've been doing some side research. I have not talked to you about it yet, but I guess now's as good a time as any. I've been doing side research in something I find very fascinating on YouTube, and that is reverse speech. And there's a lot of new technology out there now and software apps that you can take and start reverse speeching. And it's so clear. And it's so incredible. It's easy for me to comprehend this because I understand how languages are reversed. I understand how Fomalhaut and Thalem are the same damn word. Because in alchemy, they are. When you throw away all the traditions, you're left with the THLM. They are the same word. And but backmasking and reverse speech. And statistically, looking at it, as many videos as I've watched it in the past couple of months, I've been watching this. And I'm quite impressed with it. I'm quite impressed with that when we are speaking forward in whatever language, our subconscious is actually speaking backwards. I don't want to call it our higher self because to me it's part of the duality. It's reverse of this, right? Your higher self is above that. It's not part of language as we know it. It's not spoken with the tongue. It's a knowing. That's what Aquarius, this whole thing is about, knowing. You just know. You don't, it's like deja vu. How do you know you've been here before? How do you know you've done this before? How do you know? It's because we did. It's like you watch a movie and then you say, you imagine yourself in that particular part. Okay, I watched a movie called lvt, so I'm going to go play that part. Is that what we're doing here? To me, deja vu, I don't even know if simulation could fit in that. I'm not sure about that. All I know is when you experience deja vu, it's freaking real. And you know it. It's not a you guess. It's overwhelming to your psyche. And it shuts off real quick. You try to go back and grab it. Wait a minute, where did that? You know it as memory. In the French, it kind of translates to deja vu is you, but remembering me or remembering you. The remembrance of myself. But I remembered a ditch with cattails in it. And I knew it when I saw it. Oh, it was so familiar. It's like I'd seen it 1,000 times before. And so when deja vu happens to me, I try to grab it. I just want to be in that moment. Because it's the deja vu moments that to me are the real moments. Outside of this fucked up matrix we're in. Outside of this plastic society we've been given. There's something real here. You can't taste it. You can't smell it. You can't feel it. But you know it. And guess what? You remember it. I've always said if I could give humanity a gift, it would be to remember. That's the only advantage I feel I have over everybody around me, is I actually do remember before I was born. And that's a real dichotomy with me too. How can I remember a life I've never lived and then remembering before I'm born that I've never been in a body? And I wonder, is it attached to the DNA? I know that, in my opinion, a lot of people who think they've had past lives are just accessing their DNA. When I access my DNA, I can literally tap into it. I can tap into my DNA memory. It repeats itself. Is this where the memory's coming from? The DNA? I know that it exists. I've experienced it. When I came into my body, I was maybe 18 months, 2 years old. I was toddling. I was sitting in my father's lap staring out a window at the sun. And I went into the right eye of the body and landed in the back left-hand part of the brain. And shock. The biggest shock to me was separation. I'd never been alone before. We come from a collective thought in the consciousness. If you had to ask me from where, I would point up, because I remember coming across space and then into the sun. We come from what I call the blue place. The blue light is like blue jello. It's not water. It's more like a plasma. I just call it blue jello. A real pretty blue neon looking jello. Like electricity. Lightning. You know how lightning has that blue-white color? That's the color. It's something electrical. Consciousness is electrical. I wonder, is all energy consciousness? Because we burn a lot of energy on this planet. Energy can never die. It changes from one form to another. I've died enough to know there's no death. There's no such thing as death. We're told in that day they'll seek death and they won't be able to find it. Because that's when humanity wakes up and realizes there is no death. There's got to be another way to get off this damn wheel. We're on this wheel. Now everybody's looking for a way to get off. I'm going to tell you how to get off. There's 2 ways to get off that I know of. One, that's to complete the cycle. To go through the 12 houses. Whether that takes reincarnation or maybe you can do it in one lifetime. The other is to go within. And then none of this matters. But the thing is, when you start going through these houses, you end up finding a story. And that story tells you what? To go within. So no matter where you look and trace down truth, in any freaking direction, when you get to the root of it, it's going to tell you, you got to go within yourself. I can't carry your crosses. It's your journey. What am I gonna... It's like you want to go to the beach, right? So I go to the beach for you, and then I'm going to come back and tell you about it. You need to carry your own crosses if you'll just start doing this on a daily basis. Or if you can't do it daily, do it once a week. Set aside 15 minutes a week to open Stellarium or to look at some type of astrology book or alchemy book and just learn something. I prefer that you learn alchemy first. That way you don't get drawn into erroneous traditions of men and made up astrology. Because this is an alchemical circle. And alchemy is designed to turn lead to gold, to create the philosopher's stone, to bring out the purest essence of a thing, the best of the best. It refines you. This is a refinement circle. You know, and we're told that in this time zone that we're in, when you come moving from one age to another, that there are repeating patterns when this happens. And every time we get ready to change the ages, the wicked become more wicked. But the righteous are supposed to purify themselves. But the wicked will just get more and more wicked. And we are told that we have to let the wickedness come to a full. Because when we go in this next stage, there's not going to be any wickedness there. It's not going to be allowed. It is, you will reap what you sow. You sow wickedness, that's what you're going to get. You sow happiness, that's what you're going to get. But this has been in an age of grace, and you would think we were in Babylon at the confusion of this age. People can't tell the difference between the God of hellfire and brimstone, the God of grace, and the God of karma. And they're three different gods. And yet we're told there's only one God. Well, truly, to me, there is. The only God on this thing is this magic circle here. It dictates everything, and everything has duality. There's two sides to every coin. Like Aquarius is the self-martyr. No man takes my life, I lay it down. But he's also the king. It's like Leo is courage, but he's also confusion. Taurus is a hard-working, immovable, but they're also bullheaded. You can't tell them shit. Scorpio, oh, they're romantic. They are passionate, but they're also secretive, gossipy, and devious. Everything has its flip side. Like your best friend turns into your worst enemy. You know, the illuminated mind, Sagittarius, and this was the great humanitarian. He's the sage of the earth. He's the sage of Terra. Terra is the earth. He's the shaman. This is beyond Plato, Aristotle, Freud, or Jung, or any of the rest of them. This is the shaman. He's the illuminated mind. Well, this is the same crap that gave us the Illuminati. Because there's a duality. When you know one side, you know the other. You can automatically, you don't even have to assume. You can know there's another side to that coin. The trick is, it's like the quarter, right? You have two sides. It's getting the coin to stand on end. That's what Aquarius and Capricorn are going to be about. There's not going to be a battle between male and female. There's not going to be LGBT, this or that. Everybody gets to be what they want to be. The group think is going to be so different in Aquarius than what we have now. What we have now is fragmentation. And it's all perverted. Every freaking bit of it is perverted and upside down. And they done it on purpose. You know, another thing, a pattern that shows that we're told, if you go through the legends and the traditions of the different cultures around the world, and we have a lot now talking about catastrophe. The Bible even speaks of this, that when you get ready to change an age, there's like a die-off, right? A whole group of people have just got to go. And there's only two ways to do it. One is by great war, and the other one, well, plague or catastrophism, right? Catastrophe. So you get the flood, or you get a world war, or some massive plague, which is still catastrophe. Natural catastrophe. But it's done every time. Every time. When the slaves came out of Egypt, Pharaoh's army died in the water. when they moved from Aries to Pisces, they destroyed the temple in Jerusalem and slaughtered almost the whole city. So what does that tell us about what's coming here? And can you stand? You know, the best thing you can do, I'm just going to keep repeating it till you hear it. I'm being urged by the Spirit to just keep repeating this, so I'm going to do it. The greatest thing you can do for yourself is fast. Let me talk about the difference between Saturn and Jupiter here. In alchemy, Jupiter's characteristics are wet and hot. That's how Jupiter is described, wet and hot. Jupiter rules wet water in Pisces and hot light in Sagittarius. You know how Saturn's described? It ain't global warming. It's cold and dry. Opposite Jupiter. Jupiter's hot, wet. Saturn is cold and dry. We're not coming into global warming. That's just the change. The Native Americans talk about the change and tells you the water will boil. They're waiting on the water to boil. They're waiting on a few signs that hadn't showed up yet. But the water will boil. We're made out of water. They hit the water with microwaves to make it boil. Think about what I'm telling you here. The transhumanism that they've got coming, because they want to link everybody together and chip everybody, right? That is, in Aquarius, it's done supernaturally. We go back to being telepathic. Here we go back to being telepathic. There's a part in our brain that's turned off, right? As the sun moves through cycles and age to age, every time he moves to a different age, it turns some of our DNA off and turn other parts on. We get a major upgrade for Aquarius because we're going from the two lowest chakras, Mars and Jupiter, straight to the crown chakra. So it's going to be a major DNA change. A major everything change. You can even, to me, that's the reason for the Mandela effect. To me, the main reason for the Mandela effect in the two timelines, or actually more than two to me, was the tsunami that happened. And it threw the Earth off by 1 degree, which was 72 years. So we have a 72-year gap. So what did the program do was the same thing our memory would do. It just fills in the holes. It's like when you look at something and your brain automatically fills in the pieces that are not there. You're doing a puzzle, you can see the piece that is not there, and your brain can just fill it in. That's what's going on with the Mandela effect. We had a 72-year jump, and then everything changed. So it's trying to fill holes in. And it got tied up in another timeline when it did it. Because if this is a duality, then we have no choice but to have at least one, a minimum of one dual timeline. And the way I see it in alchemy, each thing is split up into 4. So I have this reality and its opposite. And then this pole has this reality and its opposite, but they're the same cross. So there are 4 minimum realities playing simultaneously with slight variations. But it was the 72-year jump in the tsunami that caused what we call the Mandela effect, because we skipped right over 72 years. You know, there's a couple of videos out there that say in 2012 we died, that we all died in 2012. I think we had a time jump. As a matter of fact, I did a video, maybe 2010, 2011. It should be on Inside 33 Archive. And it was before the tsunami happened. And I did a video called Timequake, that we're headed for multiple time quakes. And it's because of the different astrologies, and they've locked the boxes. Each culture is looking at astrology from a different perspective. But they're all going to collide. They all have to come into one. And that one is alchemy. Alchemy is the common denominator of all astrology around the world. That's why the 13th sign won't work. It's not in the... That's just bullshit. That's something else man dreamed up. It can't work in the alchemy. That's like adding an extra digit in 0 through 9. It's 0 through 9 and, oh, here's another digit. We're just going to make it a dot. Right? Just throw that in there. It don't work. It throws everything off. Nothing, no calculations can work after that. The alchemy falls apart if you have 13 signs. It's perfect. I ain't kidding you. This circle is freaking perfect. And its purpose is perfect. And it's hard to do it. But it's to refine you. You make your light bodies. We're these carbon units, right? Every organic life form on this planet is based on the carbon unit, save a couple of silicon organic units that are found in darkness at the bottom of the sea. And that carbon, that's coal. That becomes the diamond. It's taking the coal and turning it into a diamond. That's what this circle does. And how does it do that? By putting it under pressure. Well, that's how it's done. The more pressure you're under, what do they say? What don't kill you makes you stronger. I'm freaking Teflon. I've been through so much. You get to the point you're almost untouchable. And then the attacks come. There's always tests, trials, tribulations. It's never ending here. It's never ending. And if it did end, we would probably bitch about it and say, I'm bored. But I think this it's over an hour, so I've mumbled on long enough. Don't just be kind to one another. Be grateful. Be grateful for the good and the bad, for the hard times in your life. Be grateful that the outcomes are good. Be grateful for what you can learn from it. Even in the baddest things, we can find something good. That's yin yang. In the middle of the black, there's the white dot. And in the middle of the white, there's the black dot. There's always good to be found. And if we'll focus on that, happiness my life is, I don't have words to tell you how much better it feels to me. I feel like I have been under a burden for a long, long time. And I just feel so free because I started being grateful. And I had no idea how heavy that bag of rocks was. I really didn't. I didn't realize that literally it was the source of all my unhappiness. It was the source of all my misery. And as the Aquarius would say, nobody did this to me but me. I'm the one who worries. I'm the one who stresses. I'm the one who complains. And so I have to learn to be the one who is grateful and thankful. And I want to skip through life. I don't want to, I've made the statement before, I have not walked Job's mile. I crawled it on my hands and knees. As a matter of fact, I have at least 10 miles on Job. This life has not been easy, but I would rather spend the rest of it skipping, go to the playground and play. I love being with the children. And my Shin, my new favorite star, also conjunct Fomalhaut. It's amazing what you can find if you'll just look. And y'all be good to each other. Find the good in each other. You know, I always try to find the good in my mother. She's always been my go-to. I hate to cut down my mother as much as I do. I don't mean to. I'm just being honest. I know a lot of you have mothers or people in your life that are like that. They're just the ultimate pessimist. But my mother literally is the coldest person I've ever met. I mean, she's in her mid-70s, and today, if she would tell me to my face that I never wanted you, if abortion was legal, you would not be here. I didn't want you. And no emotion to it. She's not being mean. She's being honest. She's not doing it to hurt me when she tells me that. She's being honest. But there's a lot of people like that, but she looks at the bad side of everything. And she came to me one day. The nicest thing she ever done to me was she came to me and told me that I was the best mother she had ever met in her life. That she didn't think I would be a good mother, but that she was astonished at how good of a mother I was to my son. And I said, well, you taught me everything I know. And she looked at me kind of strange because she knew I didn't feel that way, that I thought she was a terrible mother. She tells me she didn't want me. I tell her, well, I don't want you either. I didn't want you as a mother. I'm here to tell you. But I would tell her, if you did it, I didn't do it. If you didn't do it, then that's what I did. And that's how I learned to be a mother, was to do what you didn't do and don't do what you did. So you made it easy for me. You made it easy for me to be a good mother. I was overly good. I was so neglected and pushed away as a child that I went full force the other way. And I smothered my son. He couldn't even make a decision about what he wanted to eat. I just done everything for them. I done everything but breathe for him. Everything but breathe and eat. Everything else I done, I spoiled him. I smothered him. I was a smother. I was not his mother. I was his smother. And that's what I done to him, and I pushed him away. I don't know if I'll ever see him again. He won't speak to me. I've tried to call every year, birthday, Christmas. I know exactly where he's at, but he will not speak to me. And it's shame. He done something very horrible to me, and I guess he just doesn't have the balls to face me. Otherwise, I had nothing to forgive. I never held it against him. I love unconditionally. Even my mother, I don't expect her to change. I never did. I learned a long time ago to accept her for who she was. But if I can find good in her, then surely there has to be some redemptive quality in just about everybody. Something we can be grateful for those that we have to deal with. A lot of us have nasty bosses or neighbors or somebody that we're forced to deal with that we just don't want to deal with. And I learned the hard way that these people are put into our life to teach us a lesson. And otherwise you wouldn't be going through this shit. You have to ask yourself, why is this happening to me? What is it about me that's attracting this? And what can I do to stop it? And the best answer is I found is the observer affects the experiment. The experiment turns out how the observer expects it to. So if you expect shit to happen, then it will. If you are grateful and the universe picks up on this, then you're going to get more. It just multiplies and repeats the fractal, the ritual, the pattern. I call it, in Jupiter's world here of Pisces, it's about repeat and repeat in Jupiter's world. You repeat and repeat in Jupiter's world. I've got a lot of new subs. Y'all probably gonna think I have flipped my lid. I don't know where all these new subs are coming from. I bet you I have gotten almost 500 new subs since before Christmas. Since right in the last month. I don't know where they're coming from. A lot of you are giving me links and telling me this and that. You just need to go through my work. Inside 33 archive and then my previous videos. It'll save you a lot of time. Maybe this video will help with some of that as well. Just save you some time. Alright, it's an hour and a half pushing it now. I'm going to shut up. I know I keep saying that, but every time I get ready to shut it down, then the spirit, boom, say this, say that. Alright, big jump coming. This is the change. It's causing global warming. We've gone from the yellow sun to the white hot sun. Then we go to the red sun, which is also the black sun. They are one. And I'll see if I can't get some time this week to do the red sky dream. I want to get that up and posted again because I feel like it's near. And then there's a lot of hype on the internet about it as well. Not just me having the dream again after this many years, but the fact that they're pushing the Red Dawn agenda right now, and a lot of Native Americans are starting to come out and talk about the red sky, and that's not been released before. When I first got on the internet, one of the first things I did was I joined a group. I joined two groups. One was a group that does dream research, and the other one was a group that was near-death experiences. Both of these groups got taken over by what I call light workers. Let me go ahead and speak about light workers, because I saw real quick what was happening, and nobody would listen to me, and it destroyed both of those. Both of those groups are dead and gone now. The same thing happened on occult.biz. The frickin' light workers came in and took over the place. Now it's gone. This is a scam from the demiurge. What they tell you to do is that you're supposed to take your light and light up the world. No, you don't. You're giving your light away. You're giving your light and your energy away. It's a lie. Don't do it. They conned all these people into taking their light and shooting it up into the atmosphere. Now, what being you think up there is harvesting this energy? I couldn't believe they were doing this, and I couldn't make them see the light. That you don't give your light away. Oh, just be the light and be the love, and no. You're just feeding the matrix. You're feeding it. It's hungry and it's feasting on you. You don't give your light away. You let your light shine. That's it. You don't give it away. If you do, you better make sure you get something in exchange that's of equal value, whatever that might be. But don't give your light away. Don't give anybody else right to your light. It's yours. It's like your third eye. I can't carry your cross, and I can't open your third eye. The best that I can do is tell you what I think. It happened to me naturally. But I have learned in alchemy and alchemical techniques the do's and don'ts. A lot of times when you die, your third eye is going to open. But that's not always. I've died many times, right? And I was not in death when my third eye opened. I was headed to I was going to kill myself. I was going to commit suicide. I was a little girl, and I was going to starve myself to death. So I know that starvation, you starve the body, and it's not just food, it's water. Water is the biggest trap. It's water. I drowned it in a pool, and I couldn't get my soul out of the water. I knew my soul was trapped in the water until that water either evaporated or somebody pulled the plug. I don't know. I wondered if they pulled the plug, would I go down the hole with it? It made perfect sense to me, the statement in the Bible that says, and the sea gave up their dead. I understand Davy Jones' Locker and why they show us these movies of Pirates of the Caribbean. That's what this is about. It's about Waterworld. We're in Waterworld. We're at the Carnival, and these are the rides at the Carnival. And the ride of Pisces is one of illusion, delusion. It's I believe. It's blind faith. And it's Waterworld. And everything is upside down. Even in the movie Waterworld, they had to turn the girl upside down to read the map correctly. Because north is south, and south is north, and east is west, and west is east. And I am you, and you are me. Alright. Y'all know what to do. Things have been tight for me lately. I know Christmas was hard for everybody. I really haven't accepted a new chart request in over a month. I've got this handful I'm going to do this week, and then I'll start taking chart requests again for February. I'm going to take myself a little break here because they are stressing me out, but I could use some donations. I don't ask often. I hope to move soon. My birthday's this week, so I turn 55. Now I qualify for the senior housing around here. So I've gone out and I've put in a few applications. The complex I want to be in that offers me a really nice yard patio for my dog, it's booked. I'm on a waiting list. I don't know how long that's going to take, but I'm just saving every dime I've got. I'm trying not to spend anything. And but pitch me a few dollars to help, that would be great. If everybody just gave $1, that would so help me out, and I could make that happen. Another thing I want to mention, I've been putting it off, waiting on the other individual. Y'all know last year that we talked, Alex came to see me, Alexis came to stay with me, and she was very sad. She was a targeted individual, and the melancholy and the sadness was so deep. She was so tortured and so homesick, and she left and went home, and then she took her own life, and that was really tough for me. I felt like I didn't do enough. Excuse me. Well, I've had another friend reach out. Let me tell you, this is beyond coincidence. Last year, in November of the previous year, 2017, I was sitting in a motel room in Stockton, California. It was pretty much freezing rain outside, nasty as it could be, and I had the room for a few days, and I was pretty much out of money. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I quit my job and everything. I had no idea what was fixing to happen to me. All I know is where I was at, I was being micromanaged from every angle, and it had to stop. And so I asked for some help. And one of my subs, I'm going to go ahead and start dropping some names here. One of my subs, Spitballs from Washington, sent me $100. And I couldn't have been more grateful. It wasn't going to make or break me, but it was sure more than what I had, which was nothing. And had done an interview on somebody else's channel, on a pretty big channel. I did an interview, and it went really well, and I ended up with a hell of a lot of subs. But when I got the donation, a couple of hours later, I was watching this person's channel that I'd done the interview on, and they were doing a live stream, and a lot of my subs showed up on that channel. And all of a sudden, Tammy Purdy showed up on the channel asking for help. Well, she had been on my channel for a couple of years. She hadn't said anything in almost a year. I hadn't heard from her, but I recognized her name. And she was asking for help. She was in trouble. She was cold, hungry, stuck in the snow, no gas, no money, no food, no place to stay. And she actually knew this person whose channel we were both on. And they ignored her. They didn't only ignore her, they attacked her and they blocked her from the channel in this live feed. I freaked out. I couldn't believe they did that to her. So I went, for one, she didn't ask for money. She just said, I need some help. And they shut her down. She wasn't getting any response, so she got a little cocky and they cut her throat. So I got in touch with her, went to her channel, left her a message, and turns out she's in the very town that the person that sent me the $100 came from. And I had a roof over my head that night, and I had food, and that $100 wasn't going to make or break me. So I took the same $100 that was sent to me, and I sent it to Tammy. I literally sent it back to the same place it just came from. I knew immediately that the $100 was always supposed to be for her. That these two people are in the same place, but they don't know each other. And I'm the go-between. I'm the only connection between these two. So I hook them up. Now, this is a nowhere. I'll even tell you the name of the town. It's Evergreen, Washington. And, no, not Evergreen, Everett, Washington. Or they would probably say Everett. And so, I'd never heard of Everett before. I get a donation from there. I'm sending the donation back to there. Right? And they meet up. They're friends now. Spitballs and Tammy are friends now. A couple of months ago, I get another email. And it reminded me very much of Alexis. Desperate, suicidal, don't want to be here anymore, ready to clock out. And it was from somebody in Everett, Washington. I knew exactly what I had to do. This is like having Tammy and Alexis slammed into one. And it's all coming from the same town. I mean, you could have picked anywhere else on the globe. So, her name is Kim. That's really all I know. I don't know a whole lot. I don't need to know. I've invited her to come here. She tried to kill herself right before Christmas. She took a bunch of pills. I've been talking to her. I invited her here before that. And she stopped contacting me. And then she tried to take her own life, which luckily she botched it. But I'm back in contact with her now. She's in contact with Tammy. I'm trying to get her some local support of like-minded people. But I have invited her here. She has nothing. Literally nothing. She does have food stamps, so she can buy her own food. She's waiting on disability. So I'm going to let her come here and stay with me, and I'm going to try to, when I move, to go ahead and get a 2-bedroom apartment. That way, when I do have company and guests, there'll be more room for everybody to stay. But I could use a little help in getting her a plane ticket here. I need a one-way plane ticket from Seattle to Las Vegas. And it's cheap. I don't know, somewhere maybe $100. Somewhere in that area. I know the further out you buy it, the cheaper it is. And I'm looking at maybe 5 weeks before she's ready to come. She's coming at the end of February. And so I need a little help with, I need my friends to help me get my friend here so I can help my friend. Because my friend needs my help. Actually, my friend needs our help. I can't have another Alexis on my hands this year. I can't let this one fall through the cracks. And maybe had I reached out to my subs on behalf of Alexis, that wouldn't have happened. But I respected her privacy, and I didn't tell you what was going on with Alexis coming and what happened until it was too late. Until I got the bad news, nobody knew about Alexis. So I'm not going to make that mistake this time. I looked back and I questioned myself about Alexis, and I in a way I can say I can kind of lie to myself and tell myself I'm protecting her privacy. It's her right. She hasn't given me permission to tell everybody she's here or what's going on. But maybe I had a little pride in there too. But this time I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be up front. I'm going to tell y'all what's going down. That we got one of our own that's hanging by a thread. I know a lot of you are. I know people come to my channel and you want a chart because you're looking for answers. Because you're lost, you're confused, you don't know what to do next. You're grabbing at any thread you can. And I'm not going to let another one go through the cracks. It's just not going to happen this time. So we're going to get her here one way or the other. And those of you who would like to be a part of this and help me help Kim, then please hit my PayPal. Like I said, it's just a few bucks. I could probably come up with half of it. So if it's $100, 50 bucks, 10 of you, $5 a piece. I have over 2,000 subs now, but it has been consistent. No matter how many subs I have, the donations and support that comes to the channel remains at about 1 to 2%. I would actually say a little lower than that, because even 1%, I should have 20 people that are donating on a monthly basis. And I actually only have 3. I have 3 that donate on a monthly basis. And on like Christmas and some months, they can't send. But if I could just get a few of you that could do $10 a month, that would really put me in a position to where maybe I don't have to have these messed up jobs I keep taking. I babysit, and I'm telling you, times I want to pull my hair out with them, but at other times I love them and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I do get attached to them. That's the part I hate about it, is I get attached to these kids, and then they grow up, move away, mommy gets married, whatever, and grandma comes back and they don't need the babysitter. But I would love for this channel to go full time. But right now I'm a Capricorn. I'm the same as that Taurus. It's important to me to know that I have a roof over my head and that hopefully one will be there tomorrow. I've never had that luxury in my life. To me, when we were small, we moved around a lot, so I never got to make those childhood lifelong friends. And then before I even became a teenager, I became a ward of the state. So I've never had what you would call a home. I've never had to where if life gets rough, you can just pack up and go home. That's not been a privilege of mine. I've had to make my home wherever it is that I am, in whatever way I can. So that concept left me a long time ago. But my friend is hurting, and I don't want to lose another one, and I want to help her, but I know I can only do so much. So I'm going to reach out to you people on my and her behalf for you to help me help her. And I'd like to get her here as soon as possible. She's excited about it. At least she's got something to look forward to. And that's some kind of hope. And then maybe we can get the proper kind of help here. I haven't even done her chart yet. I'm still trying to get the donation charts done, so I haven't even taken time. When I get free time, hers will be the first chart I'll do. That way I'll have a better idea of who I'm dealing with and how I might be able to help her. I want to help her as in many ways as I possibly can. I'm going to try to get her here, get her disability transferred here, get her into public housing here, and let her reestablish here. She needs a do-over. She needs a start over in her life. She needs a new atmosphere with like-minded people that are not trying to help her destroy herself, but to help her become herself. And indeed, that's what we're all doing, becoming. That's what this magic circle is about. And indeed, we are our brother's keeper, Aquarius. Indeed, that is part of this age, right? This age. We need to learn to separate. I was having a conversation about Paul. You know, Paul is not a minister for the age of Aquarius. He was a minister for the age of water. But his first love was to the god of Aries, the god of fire. He was Jewish, Pharisee, Sadducee. They're fire worshippers. They were in Asia. That's to them it was Ahura Mazda or Molech. But John the Baptist was the sacrifice for this age, and Paul was the prophet for this age. But that has nothing to do with the age of Aquarius. That's why some people tell you Paul's a false prophet, or they just can't see. They can't see the difference between the gods. But you know what? If you learned alchemy, you could see it all. It's just as plain as day. It just makes so much sense. And it's so simple, a child could understand it. If you teach a child alchemy and they read the Bible for the first time, they would see exactly what I'm seeing. That when you see the word world, that means an age. When you see the word heaven, that means an air sign. Just simple little things like that. It's all a big Bible bibble babble. The scribes scribbled the scriptures, and they gave us Bible bibble babble at Babylon. And y'all know how I feel about that. All right, I love you all. You mean everything to me. You are my family. I'm home when I'm with you.